What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and we're getting into another week of a fun and exciting decks to talk about. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. As you guys know, I like to cover all of English, JP, and the Chinese meta, so all in one encompassed data form. This gives us a good understanding of what's kind of topping through all three of the unified formats. So, you know, the top tier seems to be Royal Knights, Megidra, and Sukuyamon. No surprise there, but following closely behind it is Hunters, Crossheart, Red Purple Imperial Dramon, Blue Green Imperial Dramon, Galacticmon X, and Galacticmon, kind of all holding their own, and Crossheart still kind of just putting the numbers up. So it's kind of cool to see where they're going with in the 7 to 9 range. Then you have 4 to 6 range, which is the Davis and the red blue ancient Guru. It's a deck that still exists, so I'm not surprised that it pops in and out. Phoenixmon is something we'll be talking about today. This is Megidra Phoenix, or basically Dragon Phoenix, I would like to call it. I think it's a cooler name to call it Dragon Phoenix, but it's up to you how you would call Phoenixmon's new version. Mastamon doing some crazy a little bit, Levia doing some damage, Marcus's, you know, you got Tricolor Emperor Gray doing something, Gaiamon, you know, Purple Hybrid still doing stuff, you know, Galaxy, the Hero, aka Tamer deck, aka Adventure deck. Then you do have Machinedramon doing something, so we're going to be talking about Mugen as well. But all in all, just really good stuff. We even have D-Brigade sneaking up a win in this week, and Dragon Linkz, so it's just good to see. So let's get into some of the deck profiles, shall we? So first off, if you guys really need to know what we're going to be looking at, this is on Digital Gate Open. It definitely helps me give you a good understanding what's going on. But taking a look here, it is just normal Dragon Links. They are splashing in Medieval Gallant as an option. It is not a valid target for the Hina to go off with, but some players do put in the dedicated work, and it's kind of surprising to see that Dragon Links did well in a offline 60 players event. It's classified store regionals, so you're telling me they topped a store regional. Crazy. Shine Greymon being able to punch through as well as an option. This, taking a look, it's just the classic. It's just playing some new stuff, but it's just playing the regular Marcuses. They're not even playing the new Marcus. But taking a look across the board, deck's really good. I mean, being able to punch and do what you needed to, because, you know, the new Rise Gray just solves a lot of your issues where it's an on play. So even if you're bricking, you kind of get to combo off a little bit. You know, when Digivolving for the turn, one of your Marcus is treated as a Digimon, gains Rush and Alliance, and then one of your Digimon may attack. All turns, when any of your yellow or red tamers are deleted, you may place, you know, Marcus at the top of your security stack, which is very powerful. Really good card that the deck actually really needed, and it just guarantees that you can get into Shine even if you just had to hard play the Rise Gray. So just something to think about there. Then we do have Jessmon sneaking in some tops as well. You know, Jessmon being Jessmon is no surprise, right? Jessmon GX puts in so much work, being able to put on threats because, you know, Genkumon's going to come in for a reduced cost, and then boom, you kind of just give a good protection that your opponent, unless they are being able to swing into it constantly, they're not going to be able to clear what you're throwing at them. Now, Galaxy disappears in and out of the meta. It really depends on preference and how you enjoy things, but at the end of the day, this deck is a deck that's going to stick around long term. The deck is good. It's just, again, player preference. A lot of players are screaming for ban hits on this deck. I don't know. I think if you're in a heavy Megidra meta and Sukuya, I think the deck kind of just gets pushed out of the meta completely. But that's just me saying things, right? Now, we have Phoenixmon. This is just regular birds. Wow, I'm surprised. If I can find the list, I know there is a Phoenixmon list variant right now that is like Dragon Birds. Let me do Digimon meta. because I've been seeing this list pop in. And I think it's good to talk about it because a lot of players will not be talking about it right away. And I think knowing what you're coming to face against is super important. I know the Phoenixmon deck is here. I know it is. There we go. Gila. This thing basically plays like the same concept, using your Greymon X to be able to spit out your Rush Gilas that later get comboed in with, you know, the Garudamon X being able to play it when a red Digimon card is returned from trash to your hand. One of your Digimon gains Rush for the turn. That pops off very comfortably, which is not too surprising, but, you know, being on play, return one red card from your trash to your hand, which triggers its on play effect, so it gains Rush. And then basically what happens is, you know, when attacking, you get to activate all your on deletions, and if you die, you know, you get to reactivate everything again, and it's just really scary to see. The deck has some good leggings on it. If you guys want to try it out, I think it's quite budget friendly anyway, being this is the only expensive card in the group. Actually, these are the most expensive cards. Wow. Now, Heroes coming out of the format how they want to. Just plays the Tamers. It's just weird, right? There's no real wrong answer how to build the deck, right? I think it's up to the players what you think is valued, and that leads into how the deck plays, right? I think there's no wrong way of building the deck. I think you can build it how you want. There's probably an absolute bad way of doing it, right? But there's just your level 6s, definitely you want serious, and then your backup is whatever you want. The ratio should be Tigeru at a max set, and then any of the other tamers are what you feel is valued. You know, at the end of the day, this is what you're going to be playing. So if you want to play Heroes, this is an option for you. Now, Emperor Greymon, definitely playing the promo in the list, but it looks like they just went back to the classic Emperor Greymon from BT-12, being able to apply pressure that way. Nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of players are big into just knowing what they can do with their decks, and this is just one of those things. Now, taking a look, Dinomon being able to do Dino shenanigans, you know, 8-player event, but not bad. You know, Dinomon is a very scary threat for a lot of decks because even against Megidra, they can't get over Dinomon very comfortably. So, yeah, they might be retallying into it, but they're going to lose some bodies out of the trade, and they don't want to lose too many of them. So you're really scared for what Dino B can come at you with. So be ready for this deck to pop off whenever it can. Now, Mugen. It's been a hot second, especially since we want to talk about Machinedramon. You know, Attack of the Heavy Mobile's been at 2 for the longest time. You have Supreme Connection, Analog Mans, you know, Chaosdramons, Chaosdramon X. You got Machinedramon itself, and then any viable targets you want for effects depending on it. You know, the Metal Tyrannos are going to be trashing stuff. Raremon's in the list just because it's great support. You know, at the end of the day, it's how you want to build the deck, and I can't wait for EX9 to really shake up what this deck can do. Now we have Barbermon placing 6 in a 6-player, the 3rd in a 6-player. You know, I just figured it's very pity. There's not many times we can actually talk about Barbermon, and it's still a pooey dooey deck, but I mean, someone had fun with it, and someone's going to enjoy trying to get the information and use it. So it's up to you if you find this valued. But yeah, I mean, the information we have here is so great now, just having unification and being able to explore and change the meta as they do, you know, instantly changes everything for the better, right? I'm very excited. Like, 2 of my big pick decks, this one and this one, have been really well in the meta, so I'm able to play and swap between the 2 whenever I want, and my opponents won't really know which one I'm really playing. So I'm very happy on that. Things that I really hope for long-term eventually is that we see some major changes in the format. Eventually, hope Royal Knights get knocked down a little bit, but there's really no bad deck to come into the format, and you're going to do well across the board. So Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.